Hello, and welcome back to I Love. I am Podan. On today's episode, we will be discussing the second part of the Prime Wars Trilogy, Transformers Titans Return. The series ran from November 14th, 2017 to January 9th of 2018. The series consisted of 10 episodes with a combined runtime of roughly 2 hours. Returning to develop and write the series, Eric S. Calderon and F.J. DeSanto, and a new addition to the team from DC Comics and old Transformers series as well, Adam Beechin. The series was directed by Yuzo Sato this time. Animation was handled by Tetsunaku Productions once again, produced by Machinima, Tetsunaku, and Hasbro once again, distributed by Machinima Incorporated for Go90 series streaming service once again, which was shut down, but is available on Rooster Teeth. Don't worry about it. The characters of this series consist of course, Windblade, the City Speaker, Optimus Prime, Megatron. The remaining council members are the Mistress of Flame, Rod Prime, and this time we also get to hear from and see the Chorus of the Primes, which of course we would remember is the combined consciousness of all of the former Autobot leaders. The Combiners, once again, we see Victorion, who is now the leader of the Combiners, Devastator, Computron and Menasor are back to life, which we saw at the end of the Combiner Wars. We see the Ultimate Combiner in its true form. We get to see the Titan Metroplex in his fullness. The Titan Trypticon is back. We get to see my favorite, Fortress Maximus, in his entirety this time. That's right. Other characters we will see: Hot Rod, as he is going to come back, Perceptor, the Scientist, Emissary, the Titan Master. We also get to see Scrapper, Long Haul, Scavenger, and Stormclash. Another side thing we see real fast is Elite Air Resistance Squadron members Skywarp, Thundercracker, Sunstorm, and Air Warrior. The bad guys of this series include the immortal spark of Starscream, which you can remember seeing once before in Beast Wars, when he actually survived even till then to take over Waspinator. A wild card that shows up in this series is, of course, Overlord. We would remember as a former Power Master and at one time a leader of the Decepticons. And then, of course, the big bad, Megatronus, the first Decepticon and, of course, one of the 13 Primes. Very good. That wraps up our roll call. Tagline and prelude of this series is thus: after the Combiner Wars have ended, Cybertron starts to rebuild. However, the immortal spark of Starscream is guided to the reincarnated Titan, Trypticon, and begins wreaking havoc through the capital city of Cybertron. Windblade and her team of Transformers gather to resurrect an ancient ally to combat the raging Titan threat. While some have their sparks changed forever, others may not emerge at all. That's some dark shit right there, and it's gonna be. Okay, my review, quick and easy review, of course. I loved it. The Titans Return is amazing. There's a bunch of action, like amazing action. We get to see Metroplex and Trypticon fight. We get to see the Ultimate Combiner fight Trypticon. We get to see... Hold on. Who is it? It's Overlord and Mistress of Flame. We get to see Hot Rod and Windblade take on Trypticon. We also get to see my favorite, Fortress Maximus, take on Trypticon. So much action in this one. This one's a little longer, of course, but oh my god, it is amazing. Let's get right into spoiler time. Favorite scenes in this one? First one, Hot Rod is Reborn. That is right. Now this, I like to mention it because Hot Rod has always regretted becoming a Prime. You see this immediately after the film in Season 3 in the 5-part episode, 5 Faces of Darkness, when he actually cannot figure out what to do. He even pulls out and hurts himself to dive into the Matrix of Leadership, where he speaks with the chorus of the Primes to figure out what to do. And during the comics, he also didn't want to be a Prime. So this is a culmination to all of that mythos, and he finally gets to become Hot Rod once again. And why not? The Combiner Wars are over. So he gives his Matrix back to the chorus of the Primes and becomes Hot Rod again. Let's take a quick look at that scene right here.
Farewell, Rodimus, who was once Prime.
The name's Hot Rod.
That is awesome. Hot Rod is back, and he is just flying out. He's got his new guns, his new look, and he's ready to rock like always. Next favorite scene, Overlord. Overlord, one of my favorite Decepticons. He shows up out of nowhere and kills the Mistress of Flame. That is right, I told you it's spoiler time. Mistress of Flame gets murdered by Overlord. Let's take a quick look at that right now.
Thought I was Megatron.
Whoo! That's right. She is toast. Now, that scene is crazy because it shows his power. He was a Power Master, so he is a much stronger Decepticon, and he can just take it. You know, he annihilates her without a doubt. And it's kind of funny, too, which is hilarious for the show, and just goes with the action that we love to see in these Transformers shows. Next we have Overlord again. Overlord, that dirty bastard, does something to Hot Rod. We do not know what it is just yet, but it is weird, crazy, and he says some funny stuff. Let's take a quick look at that scene right here.
I'm not here to fight you, boy. There's just something I'd like you to carry. And then, I'm gonna watch the sparks fly. Literally.
Wow. That is epic and kind of funny all at once, because Overlord says a lot of funny stuff, and the scene is just epic. I mean, the purple glow, we have no idea what's going on. He says he wants him to hold something, and sparks are gonna fly, which is just awesome. Overlord's crazy, which is hilarious because, you know, he has like a split craziness because of the fact he was a Power Master that used to be 2 humans. We'll get into that a little bit more in a little bit. Next, best lines, favorite lines of this. We're going to start with Metroplex. He recites and states that he made an oath to Prime, and it is just epic. Metroplex is awesome. Let's take a quick look at that scene right here.
I was forged to help advance our species, but I also swore an oath to Optimus Prime that I would defend our species to my last astrosecond. I cannot abandon the life I helped grow. Leave me now. I must repair what I can.
Oh yeah, Metroplex is the man. Super awesome scene. That whole part is incredible. He says some great stuff to Windblade, and just epic, of course, because it's Metroplex. He's a titan. Next, we have the funny conversation with Hot Rod and the Mistress of Flame, because he just goes and becomes Hot Rod, remember, and no one knows this. So Mistress contacts him, trying to get battle advice from the Prime of the time, Rodimus Prime, and the one who can consult with the knowledge of the Matrix, to find out he's not that anymore. He's just la-di-da, he's Hot Rod again. Let's take a quick look at that scene right here.
Trypticon has returned!
Scrap on a dipstick. Trypticon. That's gonna be bad for someone.
Metroplex has deployed himself.
He won't be enough. Alright, I'll think of something.
I'll think of something? Do you have a plan?
I figure I'd show up, see what happens.
Goddamn, Hot Rod. I guess it doesn't matter. Now that there's the Combiner Wars are over, you can just give up, I guess. Hot Rod, Hot Rod, Hot Rod. We'll get to you again later. Okay, next. The ultimate. Remember, you need to have seen the show, because here's a big spoiler. And we're going to show it. Because the last best line is from the Fallen, the Flame, Megatronus, the first Decepticon. And it is his speech when he first shows up.
Lost children of my children's children, bickering, whining, endlessly skirmishing metal playthings, be awoken, for the fire has arrived.
He is just so ominous and crazy and kind of weird because he thinks himself to be a god. You know, they're the children of Primus. And let's take a look at that incredible scene right here.
You have enjoyed a millennia of recess in the absence of your pedagogues. You have spread your borrowed sparks across the blackness of space, and now your curfew is nigh.
Wow. What a badass. And that is incredible, because now we know some stuff. Oh yeah, we know a lot now. Now let's get in to those Easter eggs. Easter egg time. This is actually an Easter egg, I'm pretty sure, of what I mentioned in the last episode, and that is Trypticon's grave. We get to see Trypticon's grave right in the beginning of the series. It is when Starscream leaves his body, he flies over, and boom, we see the whole nice layout of where Trypticon was destroyed by Metroplex. And of course, he's not dead for too long. Oh yeah. Okay. Next, the purpose of the Titans is revealed. Now, I love this because this is an Easter egg to Headmasters, as in the Japanese series. Because, see, in that series, it's not that crazy rebirth crap where the Headmasters are just people, blah, blah, blah. In this story, the Headmasters start off on planet... they come from planet Master, which is where Fortress Maximus, a Titan, went and seeded a different world, and Cybertronian life flourished there. And they show up in the Japanese show. I think it's after like the first 5 or 10 episodes or something like that. And they help our friends right before Cybertron is destroyed. Don't worry, Cybertron comes back. Of course, we're on it. That happens in the comics. Good luck finding out when, because I can't even remember. But let's take a quick look at that clip here, because it's cool when Metroplex actually says the purpose of the Titans.
Is to carry Cybertronian life across the stars. Each Titan chooses a habitable planet, then becomes a city center from which life adapts and reproduces. Once life takes hold, Titans sleep in their city form until it is their time to depart and start the cycle anew.
Very cool, very cool. I love that. All these little things that they connect back to the original shows and toys and stuff is just great. And next we have a really funny one. In the Elite Air Squadron, Starscream's men, which we all saw him annihilate and kill them in like a split second, bang, 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 just crushes them all as Trypticon. There's a funny character in there, the Air Warrior character, the little purple jet guy, and that is funny because he represents the drone, the jet that would be with them in all the G1 shows, and just the extra guy to make it look like they have a squadron or an army of these jets in the Decepticons. So that is awesome that they they show him. They included him in the show. Next, we get to see our Titans turn into Fortress mode, as at least Trypticon turns into his Fortress mode. Fortress Maximus starts in his Fortress mode, which is funny because they don't have much purpose in these modes other than total destruction, I guess. We get to see a little action with them, but it is cool to see it happen. When we were kids, we obviously didn't play with Fortress mode. We played with Robot mode. Come on! Now, a big bad, I want to call this an Easter egg from me. I want to explain in a nutshell Overlord's past and where he comes from and why Megatron says, that guy, I kicked his butt ages ago, and why that's important. And also, if you remember, Overlord is looking for Megatron, which is interesting. So, during Super God Master Force, Overlord was two people. I can't remember exactly what their names were, but they were the Power Master thing, okay? And he actually transforms into two guys, a jet and a tank. There's the people that sit inside those. It doesn't matter too much. At the end of Super God Master Force, the Transformers, Transectors they call them in that series, become sentient again and basically leave all the people behind. And at this point, a lot of characters are, in different places. For instance, I'm pretty sure that Galvatron is in the process of turning back into Megatron and going mad because he is ripping himself to pieces to be Megatron again. And this would bring us back to, of course, the stuff that we see in the beginning of the Combiner Wars. But, of course, Overlord is at this point now sentient, and he is the leader of the Decepticons. So, after Megatron comes back, becomes... Well, he's Megatron again now because he was sick of being Galvatron for so long and being controlled by the Chaos. We'll get more into that in the next series. So Megatron shows up again and beats the crap out of Overlord. And this is one of the few times Overlord gets his ass handed to him, and that is why Overlord is so pissed at Megatron and is looking for him. And the thing that Megatron mentions as to why he would be mad at him. This is why you gotta watch those Japanese shows, see? Okay, let's get into the fun stuff. So, I had mentioned in the last show that there was gonna be people that had returned. Who's back? Who's back in this one? From the original show, we get Optimus Prime. We could always suspect this one. Peter Cullen usually always shows back up, and it is nice to hear him again as Optimus Prime. It is fantastic. I love it. The unsuspecting ones are two, and that is Hot Rod Rodimus Prime, Judd Nelson. He came back to reprise his role once again, which I loved. It was fantastic to hear him. He is a great voice. He was fantastic as Hot Rod and Rodimus in the film. The film, he was great. Let's not speak of Season 3. Then, of course, if you remember, in the beginning, there was a narrator who sounded very familiar. Well, he was familiar because that is the narrator from G1 and the original film, Victor Caroli. So that is amazing that he showed back up and was in there. So we had three people come back, and that is great. Transformers First voice, Mark Hamill, showed up, and he was, of course, Megatronus. Whew. It was amazing to hear him do this voice. It was just so epic. Next fun fact. I would like to explain, or at least mention, that we are now entering at least the religious mythos. We are revealing some of this that the Mistress of Flame has revealed to us, and a little bit from Victorion herself as well, as we now know that they all believe, in the mythos of the children of Primus. That would be the 13 Primes. Primus, of course, is Cybertron when it transforms into its gigantic bot, the brother of Unicron. Now, in here, we get mentioned 9 of the Primes. 3 of them are left a mystery. I'm not sure why. But the 9 that are mentioned are, of course, Sentinel Prime, Alchemist Prime, Nexus Prime, Algemus Prime, Solus Prime, Prima, and of course Megatronus. And fun fact is that the Mistress of Flame always believed that Optimus Prime was the 13th Prime, which is awesome. That's cool to know. She's very religious and prophical and stuff like that. Final thoughts of Titan's Return, because this show was fantastic. Great thing that occurs is we now know who the villain is. We know that Megatronus was weaving his lies, his deceit, through the fabric to get a hold of the divine objects. For some reason, he wants the Matrix of Leadership and the Enigma. And if you remember, Perceptor had mentioned that these objects are way older than they ever thought they were. So this obviously has something to do with why he wants them, but we will have to wait and see why he wants them. Next, we have lost a few great characters. We have lost the Mistress of Flame. She, of course, was murdered by Overlord. And, of course, Optimus Prime. We must bow our heads for a second for the greats. That's good. And, of course, remember, we also lost Victorion's arm because she got burnt by the flame at trying to get back the Enigma of Combination, which is crazy. I mean, it's brutal, some of the stuff that happens in the show. That's 2 down, someone loses their arm, gone forever. Next funness, we have Megatron. Megatron, at the very end of the show, literally tells everybody that he wants everybody to follow him. Oh my god, Megatron has had an amazing story arc in this show. In the beginning, he has a conversation with Optimus. They have like a bromance watching the Titans battle. They kind of, forgive and let live all of their things right there. Then he's also, later on, kind of on a little bit of a pilgrimage to figure out what is really going on, if anybody else believes, because he mentions a few times that he thinks something else is going on. There's something more to everything that is occurring during all of this. And that is just awesome. So he wants to lead. He's going to lead the Transformers in our next conflict. And that's going to be fantastic to see where that goes. Final thing I would like to mention is that Optimus Prime mentions a third iconic divine object, and that is the Requiem Blaster. Now, we have no idea what this is or what it's for, but we know it exists, so it's good to remember that this is out there. Now, I absolutely loved Titan's Return. It gets so much more epic from here. I would love to know what you loved about Titan's Return in the comments below. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.
Beware the power of the Primes.
What does that mean?